Please use your calendars if necessary to refer back in time.
It was either August 16th or August 23rd of 1984. I remember that because it was the week before school started, and it was the Thursday of a Sprite night at Theme Park. I met some guys there that were from Boys Town, and they had, I met one in particular. His name is Jeff Hubble. And Jeff Hubble had said that there was going to be a party that Friday, and would I like to come? And I said, sure, that I would go. And so that next night, which was, I met him on a Thursday. That next night, which was Friday, I went to a party. And it was at that party that I met Larry King. At the time that I met Larry King, I did not know that he was Larry King. I had met him. It was the first time I'd ever met him.
Okay. And after you had met Mr. King...
that, and with several other people that were at the party, it, in the beginning, wasn't very intense at first, but within 3 months after that, I was seeing at least someone from that social group, female. And later, I'd been there about an hour, and Rob came, and he started talking to me. And
who was that came?
Rob Rodman.
Okay.
I was told to call him Robbie.
Okay. Well, just for the record, later on, you knew Rob later on to be Bob Wadman.
Right.
Police chief of Omaha, Nebraska. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
At this time, I still did not know who he was.
Okay, go ahead.
He came, and we were the only two people in the living room. And he was talking to me, and fixed me a drink.
What kind of a drink?
He knew I liked champagne.
Okay.
And I think he even brought a bottle of champagne.
Okay.
I am almost positive that someone called him and told him that I was there. And told me how pretty he thought I was. And he said that he liked my outfit that I was wearing. And he wanted to know what I was wearing underneath it.
Now, well, what kind of outfit were you wearing?
I was wearing a it was an outfit that I had gotten for homecoming. I was to be in the homecoming parade, and it was a leather type jumpsuit.
Okay.
And it was
nice.
It was sexy. It was about 10 years too old for me. As a matter of fact, my mom, when she found it, she cut it up. And he said he liked it, and he wanted to know what I was wearing underneath it.
How did you answer that question?
I was flirting, and I asked him what he thought I was wearing underneath it. And he asked me if I was wearing a bra, and he said that he could, see my breasts, and he told me that I had really nice breasts. And he touched me.
Touched you where?
My breasts.
Which hand?
This one. I was sitting, when, we're sitting there, we were talking, and he said, when he wanted to tell me what a pretty girl he thought I was, he said, come here, I want to talk to you about something. And, he sat me down on his lap, and he put this arm around me, and he was feeling my bottom. And first he started...
That arm being what?
Well, I suppose I was sitting just like I was sitting because we were sitting in the chair that was against the wall, so he had to have this arm around me and this arm
Okay.
was feeling me. So,
Okay.
he started touching me through my clothes, and then he undid. My jumpsuit had a zipper jump on it, and he began to undo it, and I asked him to stop, and I was wearing a lace-type bra, and he asked me why he should, and he told me how pretty I was.
Okay.
And that he just wanted to see, just wanted to take a look.
Okay, and what did you say?
I was kind of scared. He had asked me before where my parents thought I was again, and I told him that I was supposed to be at a football game. And when the first time I asked him to stop, I asked him, what are you doing? Because he started to unzip it.
Move your clothing.
Yes.
Did he make love to you?
Make love? Robert, he never made love to me. He may have had sex with me, but he never made love to me.
Okay. Like you.
Not sex. He kissed me. That was the night that he taught me how to get a pen.
And by head meaning oral sex, is that correct?
Yes.
Did he force you to do that? I know it's difficult.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think I could have said no.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay. And Alisha, you're a victim. And with a young age. Let's go off camera for a minute.
He took my leg and he folded it. This is a big chair, one of those cushy kind, and so I was straddling him.
Were you kind of afraid?
Yeah, I was really scared.
Did you tell him you were afraid?
He was talking to me. The whole time that this was going on, he was talking. And he said that he knew that I wasn't a virgin anymore. And
how did he know that?
I don't know how he knew that. That's why I think that what happened that night was supposed to happen that night, the night that I lost my virginity. And he asked me what my parents would do if they knew I wasn't a virgin anymore.
Okay. How did you respond?
I said my dad would kill me.
Okay.
And how grown up I was. And he said he wanted to teach me.
Teach you what?
Teach me how to make a man happy. Show me what a real woman does. And then he said, at that time he's kind of, to kind of lighten the mood, he started kidding about doing the zipper thing. And he told me not to do a zipper. And by that time he had stand up when he told me not to do a zipper. And he'd taken the cushion from the chair and put it on the floor, and I put my knees on it. And after I didn't do his zipper, he pulled down his underwear and told me what to do.
Did he grab your head and pull you towards him?
Yes. And after it was over, I ran to the bathroom and threw up.
Was anybody else present when that happened?
No.
No one came out of that bedroom or anything?
No one.
And at this time of the evening, it's still early enough where there's not many people at this party.
Right. After I came out of the bathroom, he told me he was sorry. Sorry. So I was crying. And he told me he'd buy me a dress. And he said, you go to Central, don't you? Central High School. You go to Central High School, don't you? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, Monday after school, Brandeis was still open. Brandeis downtown, still open. And he said, you go down there and you find a dress that you like. And he told me not to worry about money and that he would buy me this dress. And he said that he wanted to take me to lunch on Wednesday. And he said to meet him out on the side, and that he would take me to lunch, and I could leave school just to walk out. I mean, after being through this so long, I can look back and I know that was planned. You know, I knew that those guys knew beforehand that he was going to hit on me. I didn't know that then, and I didn't know that for probably a year later.
Okay. They didn't know?
Brought me down.
Okay.
Oh.
And in case you...
He asked me if I would do it again give him oral sex again. And I started crying. And he said, no, don't cry. And then he asked me if he could just touch me, and I didn't say anything. I started the molding feeling. And he said he wouldn't. And jerked off.
He masturbated.
Yeah.
So when he took your clothes off, or when you took your clothes off, did he take his clothes off?
No, when I started to cry and he was touching me, he started into his pants. And I started to get real scared because I didn't know that he was going to rape me or what was going to happen. And I think I started to cry. And he told me that it was okay, and then he started to touch my breast because I wasn't wearing anything, a shirt or anything. And my dress was all hyped up around, he was all hyped up around my waist, everything. And he asked me if he was touching my breasts, and he asked me if I liked it. And I was supposed to tell him that I liked it. And he had undone his pants, and he was stroking himself.
Now, is he standing up or sitting down?
He's standing up. I'm sitting on a table.
Did he have an ejaculation?
Yes.
Did he ejaculate on you?
He wanted to. I moved back, and then he got real mad because I wasn't supposed to do that. As a matter of fact, he got some on the dress. And I was just sick.
Then what happened?
He was mad. He was pretty mad.
Did he use foul language towards you?
Yeah, he said, "God damn it," and, I tell you to do something, you're supposed to do it. And he grabbed both, and he pulled me to him, and he said, "Next time I tell you to do something, or I tell you to sit, you sit." And, because when he started to come, I jumped back, and I wasn't supposed to do that. And he just here. Out, just walking, just leaving, and Larry, the kid Larry, came in, and he said, "You're not leaving until I say you can leave." And it's like, okay. And I had seen him beat up a kid that wouldn't go in the bedroom before. And I didn't want to get beat up.
So you stayed.
So I stayed. And I stayed in there. I hung out in the kitchen the whole time because I didn't, I wanted to leave. So I was just kind of hiding out in the kitchen.
What other adults were at this party? All right, anything else on him?
No.
Alan Barrett?
Yeah, he would meet, good-looking, he'd go down to the old market, and if he found a young man that he met that he had an interest in, he would give him money to meet him at his office at the Twin Towers. And the kid was supposed to say, more often than not, a lot of times he had him run naked on the treadmill that was in his office.
And what would he do?
This is the weird part. Absolutely nothing. He would just sit there and watch. Wouldn't say a word, wouldn't do anything, because once Troy was telling me about how he would get $100 every time he ran, it would only be for 15 minutes. Alan wouldn't do anything, just watch him.
And this is Troy telling you firsthand.
Right.
Did you ever see any of that?
I saw Alan give him money. I saw later on that they were lovers, but I never was in their presence when he was running naked on
So
the
you've actually personally witnessed Alan Bear have sex with different kids.
I have seen him kiss, fondle. I've never seen him penetrate, but I have seen him kiss, fondle,
How about oral sex?
Yeah.
From kids?
Yes.
How about himself performing on kids?
No, I never saw any adult giving oral sex.
Just receiving it.
Just receiving, and that's what I mean. I mean by these men sucking on other boys' penises.
Okay.
This is after January 1984. He told me that I was going to meet him again for lunch, and that I was going to do it on Wednesdays, and that he had it all arranged, and I was just supposed to leave right after lunch. And sometimes we went to the Starlight Motel. Sometimes we went to some hotels in Bellevue.
Who would go?
He and I. Sometimes.
He and I referring to
Wadman and myself. We didn't always have sex on those times. Sometimes he had other men there waiting.
When would you go to the, let's just back up here.
It was Wednesdays. It was always on Wednesdays that we went to hotels or anything else.
During the school year?
It was during the school year. I mean, I left school. I walked out of school. And, I went down and I met him at the...
What year?
This was 1984, this winter and summer part of it.
So you're telling me January, February, March, April, May.
Right.
Throughout the summer too?
No. In the summer, of course, how am I going to tell my mom? Also, we left on vacation. I also...
Wednesday or every Wednesday?
Never. Never had to. And I never had to, I never signed out. I just walked out. They saw me leave.
Did the principal at Central High during that time period, was he involved in something he shouldn't have been, that you know?
That I know of, no.
What about the person who kept the attendance records?
I worked in the attendance office in 1986, my last year, senior year. I worked in there for about 2 months. No, they're two little old ladies.
Did you ever look up your attendance record from 1984, 85?
Mm-mm. No, I didn't have access to records.
Okay. So you, just back up here.
Okay.
The Starlight Motel where?
Starlight Motel is right across the bridge. It's in Council Bluffs, and it's on Broadway.
Okay, and would you usually use the same room?
Yeah.
And what room number was that?
It was the bottom room that was 3 rooms down from the office.
All right, let's draw a picture of that.
The Quality Inn, which is in Bellevue,
Okay.
and I don't know the address.
Okay.
I went there twice. We also went to this dive. It's called the Holiday Motel, and it's right off of the main road that runs through Bellevue, way back to Galvin. And it's this little itty bitty motel that sits up on the hill, and you have to drive your car up on the gravel part to be able to get up there. And that was whatever motel room.
Okay. When you go in any other hotels, you mentioned the Holiday Inn?
No, that was the Holiday Motel.
Okay. And any other hotels?
No.
All right, now let's back up. Any time that you went to these hotels on a Wednesday, who paid for the room?
I don't know. They were always... Key was there. They already had a key, or else the door was open. If the door was open, or they already had a key.
Okay, and...
The only thing I know is that it cost $65 for the Holiday Motel because I saw a receipt for the Holiday
And
Motel.
who got that receipt?
It was, this is one of the times I got slapped. He was in the bathroom, his pants were on, and by him I mean Robert Wadman.
I don't want to get mixed up here.
Okay.
Let's just stay on the subject matter, and then we'll shift over.
He had the receipt.
Robert.
He had the receipt.
Okay. Any time that you went to any of these hotels, did Bob Wadman ever have to stop and pay?
Never.
Okay,
Not
never.
that I know of.
All right, and he would always pick you up every Wednesday? Mm-hmm. And where would he always pick you up at?
The bus stop. If he didn't pick me up, then Larry, the 17, 18-year-old, would pick me up.
All right, did you ever have any of your friends ever witness you ever being picked up?
Yeah, and they knew I was gone, too. I mean, how do you know?
Who?
One of my friends, Chris Davis, knew I was gone.
And where is she at?
He lives in Grand Island.
Okay, what's he do now?
He is working at Valentino's.
Okay.
And he is or whatever else he wanted.
Intercourse?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was, after the first 3 times, that was maybe once a month. The other 3 weeks out of the month was, and there were a couple of times where he picked me up more than once a month, but at least once a month, Larry would pick me up, and we'd go to a hotel, and there'd be men that I did not know.
Who would arrange these other men?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
You never knew who they
I
were?
never knew who they were.
Was it always again one-on-one?
It was always again one-on-one.
Would anybody else be there to watch?
Would be watching?
Yes.
No. I was supposed to go. Larry would pick me up, and these were when I didn't know whoever they were.
Okay.
Larry would pick me up.
So during these times, just so I understand, Bob Wadman's not in this now.
No, but he knew what was going on.
All right. But, so Larry would pick you up. Not Larry King,
Larry.
but the other Larry.
Right.
Would pick you up, take you to the hotel. What would Larry do?
Larry would sit in the car.
All right, and okay.
And if I walked out of that
Owen.
hotel room without having to do what I did, what I was supposed to do, then I was in a lot of trouble.
Okay. What do you mean, a lot of trouble?
He would beat me up.
Did he?
He slapped me around a few times.
Okay.
He wanted to show me that he meant, I'm tough.
Okay. How long would you be in these hotels?
Anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour.
Oh, okay. And then you'd be driven back
Yeah.
to school?
I'd be driven back to school. Usually around that block, it's a huge block.
Yes.
And I was let off somewhere because it
Near there.
encompasses Jocelyn too. I was in somewhere around there.
And then you would go back to school?
No, I'm not going back to school after that. Sometimes I just walk around. Sometimes I go home. I don't know the names.
Never seen them again?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't know their names.
Do you know who they are now?
I know who one is.
Who's that?
Judge Carlson.
Okay. The other people, did you have sex with some of these same men on different occasions?
Yes.
So, I mean, it wasn't
just a one-time thing.
From January to May, one person each time.
Mm-hmm.
It might be the same person on several different occasions off and on, in between the time you and Bob Wadman were getting together. Okay, I understand. During any of these times, did you ever receive any gifts or money?
No. Only threats.
Okay.
I just had physical contact.
Okay. During any of these times, did anybody ever tie you up and have sex with you?
Yes.
And who was that?
I don't know.
Okay. Did Bob Wadman ever tie you up?
No, he threatened to.
Okay. So these afternoon get-togethers, did anyone ever physically beat you up?
No, I was not beat up. I was slapped around. They would do things to hurt me intentionally, sexually.
Would they put objects inside you? Is that what you mean?
Yes, they. One time they said I was too old, and that I had to be shaved. Sometimes they were just real harsh.
Do these people verbally or physically threaten you if you didn't cooperate, that they would harm you?
Only one guy did. The rest didn't have to, because Larry was sitting in the car, and I knew that all they had to do was say that they didn't like it, and he would get me.
And what did you take that to mean, get you?
He would hurt me, make me disappear, take me away. He would beat me up. He could kill me if he wanted to. Physical violence.
Do any of these things to you?
No, he would grab it and pinch me and pull my hair. A couple times he'd slap me.
And why would he slap you?
Anywhere he felt like hitting. If I said something that was maybe the wrong thing to say, he'd slap my mouth. He would pinch me really hard. Either on my breast or sometimes in my genital area. He'd grab my arm and dig his fingers in up underneath here so it would leave bruises. That's about it.
During any of these times, were photographs ever taken of you?
Yes.
And who took some of these photographs?
I don't know his name. He's young guy. I believe his name is Rusty.
Okay, now let me clarify so we're not getting...
19, and I had written some bad checks. I was in jail, put in jail on a Friday night.
Where?
OPBD,
okay.
Downstairs, not DC, but OPD. And that Monday morning, I went and saw a judge. I had like two $10,000 bonds. And I signed my name to a piece of paper and walked out. And that's it. The judge you know, they asked me a couple of questions, where do you live? And I told them where I lived, and they said okay, and they asked me if I had a job, and I said yeah, and I walked out.
Did Wyman ever take photographs of you at other parties?
No, he never took any photographs of anyone. And he had done some favors for Larry, and that Larry owed him.
What kind of favor?
He never came out and said, you know, what he did. He had said that Larry wouldn't be so rich if it wasn't for him. He said that. He said actually what he said is he wouldn't have so much money. And I mean, by this time I knew.
Did you hear that?
This is in late 86, 87.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
And where did you hear that?
When we were talking.
Where?
We were talking, it was in the Twin Towers apartment, and we were upstairs and we were talking, and Larry had gotten into a fight with this guy Gene.
Larry King?
Larry King had gotten into a fight with this guy Gene. Gene was one of his lovers.
Gene Mahoney?
I don't know. You mentioned a kid named Wally Webb, and I know a guy named Joel Webb that was part of that was my age. His name was Joel Webb. He was there one time. A lot of it was me handcuffed with my hands behind my head and my feet tied, and doing different things.
What do you mean?
Sometimes it would be a guy straddling over my face.
Okay.
And that's when they took pictures.
Okay, and when you say they, who are you referring to?
Okay, once a rusty guy took pictures. Larry took pictures most of the time. Larry King took pictures quite a bit during that time. If there was any way I could get out of a picture section, I did. If you know, I used every excuse, everything I could possibly think of to get out of those.
Were other?
No, I never meant their names. They were too busy talking to most of the adults.
Okay. Since you brought up Judge Carlson, when was the first time you had a sexual encounter with Judge Carlson?
It was in the spring of 1984.
And where did that take place?
That took place at the Quality Inn.
Where?
In a hotel room.
Quality Inn where?
Bellevue. I'm not sure if that's the name now of it, because I think it's changed names like 2 or 3 times. But that's the name now.
Okay. Larry King?
No, Larry became Larry.
Okay. And what did Judge Carlson do to you? That occasion.
The attack.
Straight sex? I mean, did he tie you up?
No, he didn't do anything kinky.
Okay. Okay. Did he make you perform oral sex on him?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we had straight sex.
Did he perform oral sex on you?
No.
Okay. And again, what's the time period now?
Of course he wasn't going to say anything about him.
Do you think Father Val Peters or Father Hupp directed the Boys Town?
I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is that they had to go talk to somebody, and they
Never give you an idea of who?
No, they found out that one time Jeff Hubble came home drunk, and they put him in Epley Chemical Dependency Center, and they got him out of there. Larry King and those guys got him out of there, and that's right after that he disappeared.
Okay, when was that?
That was in 84. That had, let me look at my calendar here. That had to be like November of 1984.
Okay. Anything else there? Okay.
Well, the ones that didn't have anything, or I didn't think that really cared, they gave him stuff. Got to drive around in Mercedes, clothes. You could stay at the apartment if you wanted to, the Twin Towers apartment. You know, go ahead, crash out here for a week. I don't care. You need some money, we'll give you some money. And those of us that didn't like to be involved and didn't want to be involved were threatened.
Okay. Oh, so and who would do these threatening remarks?
Larry King.
Do you think Larry King personally did?
I mean, do I think he did?
But he doesn't have any power.
He, well, if he wants, you know, when I was 17, and he was talking to this guy, Gene, and I was not supposed to hear this, he pulled my hair, and he brought my face right up to his face, and he said that if I ever see or I ever hear anything again, if I ever see or hear anything that was said, I'll never see or hear anything again. And, you know, when he's got, you know, when someone does that to you and you know that they have money, you know, I just knew him as a banker. And when they threatened, you know, that I can go find somebody that will kill you or that will kill your family, you're not telling anybody.
Okay.
The second flight I took was March, was right after school got out. And that was, Troy was involved in some sort of movies, pornography movies. And Troy had said to me, Alisha, and this time we flew through LAX.
You went from where?
Omaha to LAX. We went Omaha, Denver, LAX.
On what airline?
United.
Okay, and
What's the date?
what was the date of the second?
It was right after I got out of school, so it had to be May or June. May, June
What year?
of 87.
Okay, and the first flight, what airline did you use?
The first flight, we, I think we flew United every single time.
And how was your ticket printed?
It didn't have my real name on it. I think one time it had my real name on it. It had, let me think of the name because it was a really kind of unusual name. It was like Carmelia. Carmen, Carmelia. I don't know the last name that was on it. They never let me have the tickets. It was always, okay, here's your ticket, and I gave it to whoever when they came and got them. And that envelope, I never had that envelope thingy. You know, it was always...
Who handled the ticket?
When Larry, the kid, went with us, Larry did. The times that I went with Troy, Troy did. A couple of times we flew Braniff to Kansas City,
okay,
and then
well,
we took United
let's
out.
not get out of sync here. Okay, now we're back to the second flight. You said you flew United.
Right.
Who was on that flight?
Troy and I.
Troy, what's his last name?
Troy Bonner.
Okay, and you went to where?
We went to LAX.
Okay, and how was your ticket printed? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I don't remember the name on it.
All right, and what was the purpose of the trip?
The purpose of the trip was Troy had been out there before to do some pornographic movies. He wasn't in them.
He was carrying them or picking them up?
He was picking them up for, I believe, Alan Bear. I'm pretty sure it was Alan Bear. He was picking them up, and I don't even think they were supposed to be there, but Troy just kind of on a whim decided, hey, let's go. I had my luggage. We went to the beach for the day.
Where did you go when you got there?
We already had prepaid, everything was done, to a hotel called Carmel by the Sea. And
what town again is this?
This is L.A.
Okay.
And we already had, it was called Carmel by the Sea. And
remember what room?
Upstairs room. No, I can't remember the room.
Okay.
And I remember the VHS type movies, a gym bag type full. He came back with those, and I think there was something else in there, but he didn't tell me what that was, just by the way he acted. We went out there, we just had our overnight bag. What's wrong with this?
Okay.
We met them in Pasadena.
Met who in Pasadena?
We met, Larry King was there. There was 3 boys that I had seen at one of the receptions at the French Cafe were there. And I'm almost positive they were Boys Town boys. Almost positive. They were there.
You mean graduates of Boys Town or present?
I think they were present because they were young.
Well, how would they get away for a long period of time?
I have no idea.
Okay.
They were, like I said, I'm not sure if they were Boys Town, but I'm almost positive they were at that reception. I know that they're from Omaha. I know that. We went to this house, and Troy had told me that he had even lived there for a little while back in like 1980, 81, because he had lived there. And we stayed there. Everybody else was there for the day, but by that time I was old enough that I didn't need to tell my parents, where I was going or anything. I just kind of blew them off. Danny King, Jeremy, and these 3 boys left that night to go back to Omaha. They just flew out they flew out with us during the day. We went to a restaurant, an Italian restaurant that is right by the piers, right by the beach. And then Troy and I went out and we just hung out on the beach. And when I later talked to them, they told us that there was some filming, something going on there, pictures were done. Because afterwards, when I left, there weren't pictures and there wasn't a VCR camera. And when I come back, there are pictures.
Did you take part in any sexual activity out in California?
No, by this time I was too old. Then
they weren't interested in you anymore?
No, they weren't. I was there to, by that time, there were a lot of threats against me. There was a lot of blackmail. And my main job was to kind of make them feel comfortable, make them feel at ease, and
make who feel at ease?
A lot of kids. There was this one boy named John that just had a real hard time with a lot of the advancements, the sexual advancements, and one time Larry told me to calm him down and just talk to him.
So on that particular flight, did any of the boys have sex with the adults?
I was not there, but I believe so. I saw pictures. Like I said, I was not there.
What kind of pictures?
There were pictures of the boys together.
Of the kids that went out with you on this flight?
There was Danny, Jeremy, and these 3 boys that left, and they all left that night.
Okay, so there's 4 of you that went out, but now there's more. Are these kids, these other...
No, there's 4 of us, and I told you we met at the house where those 3 boys. A lot of it was just, some of them were straight snapshots, I mean just naked bodies. Some of it was two of them together kissing. There was only one other black boy that was there, and there was a picture of an older man's body, and he was black, and I believe it was Larry's. And there was another young boy that was performing oral sex on him.
Do you know who took those photographs?
I was not there.
Okay.
And there was also a VHS camera with tapes on it.
Where did you see these pictures at?
They were in the house.
That's where you were staying.
Right.
And how long were you out there?
I was out there for 2 nights and 3 days. And then we flew back. That was the time that we went through Kansas City. We flew Braniff in a little small Cessna type plane. We flew to Kansas City, and from Kansas City we went out. And from Kansas City we flew to Las Vegas, and from Las Vegas we flew to LAX. And that time there was a drug transfer that went on because I was there and I saw it.
Okay, and how did, what airline ticket did you use? Go under? Did you ever see your ticket?
It was a little brown ticket that had a green stripe going through
Did you just look at your printing on the card to see what name you were using?
That was one of the ones that I had Carmen or Carmen
Okay.
type name on it.
And what did Troy use?
I never saw his ticket. He went under, quite often he told me that he went under Troy Bonner. He just always changed his last name. More often than not, Troy went under his real first name. And he usually chose, I think, my name. And a lot of times I don't think I was supposed to be going on these with him.
He just wanted you to come along.
Right.
So no one knew that you came along.
I don't know. I don't think so. I was not supposed to tell anybody. He never said, Alisha, nobody knows you're with me, so hush hush. He just said, you know better than to talk about this to anybody, don't you? And I said, yeah. So I never talked about it. So I don't know if he used his money to bring me along. We were having, I wouldn't say a serious relationship, but we've been friends for years. And he'd always talked about marrying me.
Okay. Did you take anything out there?
No, aside from a little bit of luggage, nothing.
Okay. And what did you come back with?
We came back with cocaine.
And how do you know that?
Because I saw it. I was there. He bought...
Who bought?
Troy. From who, I do not know, but I do know that he's a friend of Al Alvarez's.
And where did that transaction take place?
This took place at the Embassy Suites Hotel that's right by LAX. Right by LAX.
Did it take place in a room?
Yes.
Remember what room?
Upstairs room, far east corner suite. Corner. The east corner that is towards the beach. The beach
Who
is
paid for the room?
It was already done. We met the guys. They were already in there.
Okay.
And he got what's normally $95 up here. I don't know the exact, I think it's grams. He got it for $45.
And how much did he buy?
And he bought over $4,000 worth. So it wasn't a whole lot, but it was, you know, a nice little bag. And it was in powder form. And
you seen the exchange?
I was there.
And you seen the money exchange?
I saw him give him the money.
And how much money did he give him?
He gave him about $4,000.
Okay. And how much goods did he receive in return?
He got a package about this big. Troy had taken that package and he had smoothed it out and he had put it on his body. He'd taken it and he opened it up and he put it in one of those Ziploc baggies and flattened it out and folded it over in half, and so he had it right up here.
Okay. And then, how long were you out there?
We were just out there for the day.
Okay, and then you came back.
And then we came back.
And then what happened?
And then he met Alan Bear more often than not met us at the airport. And so that leads me to believe that, I mean, Alan had to know that I was there. Even though he didn't see us get off the plane together or anything like that, I was there with Troy.
Was Alan standing at the gate?
No. We met him down, he'd pick us up at the thing. And
So when you came off the plane, did Alan pick you and Troy up?
no. But we'd go down, and he'd, if we had an overnight bag or something that went through the luggage, try to pick it up, and I would go to the car, whatever that we had parked at the airport, and I would drive that, and then I would meet, then he would go with Alan, and I would usually meet them somewhere. I'm watching that at Alan's office.
Did you see Troy give the dope to...
Alan Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually seen it?
I saw it. We went into his office.
How did we get from the airport to his office?
I drove my car. Alan and Troy were in theirs, and Alan was driving a Jag.
Okay. So he knew then that you went on this flight?
I believe so. But on the other hand, he could think that I was just there picking up the car, too.
Okay. All right. So then you all drive down to his office.
We drove down to his office, the Twin Towers Conagra building. We drove down there, and sometimes, it wouldn't matter if it was late at night or whatever, but he always had a key to get in, and we'd go up. Or else there would be like a watchman there or something, and we'd go upstairs. I think one time I saw a watchman there. And we'd go upstairs, and, Troy would lay down on the desk, and he'd get some money. Or he'd...
So Alan didn't have any qualms about you seeing this transaction at this point?
No, he knew. I'd known Alan by this time for over 3-4 years.
Okay. All right. And then so Troy hands him the...
He never handed it like
okay.
this. He always just dropped it on the desk.
All right.
Days early. And by this time, I had my own apartment, the California.
Okay, when in 1984?
That was taken... Right. It was the high school spring break.
And how many days do you get for spring break?
I think you get a week.
Okay, and go ahead and...
I was only gone overnight.
Okay.
I told my parents that I was going to spend the night over at a girlfriend's house.
You only got one night?
I was only gone one night.
Okay.
I went one day and came back the next.
Okay, and where did you leave from?
We left from Omaha.
And where did you go?
We went through Denver and I believe we filled up. We stopped in Denver. I never had to get on the plane. We never got on the plane. I don't know why we stopped there, for what we stopped there. Larry King got out of the plane. There was one of the guys there from the French Cafe was there, and those were the only 2 adults that were there.
That were where?
That were in the plane, besides the guy, the pilot.
How many pilots?
There was only one.
And what kind of a plane was this?
It was a small Cessna type plane.
Was it a jet or prop?
It was the small kind that are not...
Did it have propellers? Or was it a jet engine?
No, it was the kind where you get in and you can see everything. The small, like
a
6-seater.
4-seater?
Yeah, it was 6.
Six-seater? A 6-seater?
It was a small...
Single engine or
plane.
a twin engine?
I don't know what those are.
Okay.
There was only one guy that was driving the plane.
So you couldn't, so when you're inside the plane, you could actually see the pilot?
I could see the pilot, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like the part is that we sit in is no bigger than this table.
Okay, all right, I understand.
And that's why I said when we went to Denver, I think it was to fuel up, but I'm not sure. They wanted to stop in a North Platte, something like that.
Did you?
No, not the first time.
All right.
And
So you stop in Denver. And how many passengers are on board from Omaha to Denver?
okay, there is me, and I did not want to be there. Danny, this little kid named Jeremy, and Troy was there, and this other kid I don't know.
And plus the pilot.
Plus the pilot, and plus Larry, and plus the other guy. And the other guy was sitting up with the pilot.
So how many total people are on that plane, including
There's
the pilot?
two, there's the pilot, the guy from the French Cafe, Larry, Jeremy, okay, me, Troy, Dan King. I think that's it. And there's one kid I didn't know sitting in the back. So I went 2, 2, 2, and the two guys up there.
So you're talking about 8.
Yes.
8.
There were 6 chairs that we could.
Plus the pilot, co-pilot.
Right.
Okay. So
Okay.
you total for 8 people.
Well, yeah, but
Right.
there were 6 passengers that could sit on
Right.
there.
So that must have been a twin engine.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about planes.
How many motors did it have?
I don't know.
Where did the plane depart from?
Omaha,
Where in Omaha?
Sky Harbor.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was Sky Harbor.
Okay. All right. Did you take any excess baggage?
No,
Okay. Anybody take anything?
not that I know
All
of.
right. What was the purpose of the trip?
The purpose of the trip, I have no idea. I went, and I did not want to go.
Okay.
We lost that little boy that I don't know.
Okay. Give me the ages of the kids involved, including yourself.
Give you the what?
How old were you when you took that flight?
It was 1984, I was 15.
Okay. And the age of some of the other kids?
Troy was 17, Danny was 13. This little boy that did not return with us was, he couldn't have been more than 12, 13.
Where were their parents?
He did not return, and I had never seen him before or anything.
But okay. So the boy got off the plane in Denver?
No, he got off when we went to California.
Okay, let's go back. See, you land in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in Denver? Anything?
No, we stopped.
Okay.
And like I said, I don't know anything about planes.
Okay.
And we've been drinking. And when you drink and you're that high up and you're in that little plane,
Yeah, I know.
I was totally bombed.
Okay. So no one left the airport.
I don't think so. Like I said, this one I'm not totally and completely sure about because I was sober when we went through the North Platte because we needed to get more gas.
Did you stop in North Platte?
Not this time, but on another
All
one
right,
we did.
let's just keep with this
Okay.
flight. Was the boy white or black?
He was white.
Were all the kids white or black?
There were, Danny's white. They're all white,
Okay.
except for Larry King.
Okay.
He's black.
So we got 7 whites and 1 black.
Mm-hmm.
So you stop at the Denver airport.
Mm-hmm.
We've ever on.
This trip seemed to take forever. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't stop in
All right.
wherever.
All right.
I knew that we ended up in California in a smaller airport. It was not LAX. It was not any major airport.
All right. So now you get to LAX.
Mm-hmm.
Same day?
This whole thing, God, took us hours. A good 6 hours.
Yeah, that's fine.
6, 7 hours. It took a long time. It wasn't just a little hop like a 4-hour jet plane.
Okay, so you get to LAX, or you get to California, you land in a small airport in Los Angeles.
Right. Larry King and this boy get out. Okay. Larry King and the boy get out.
These guys are still in the plane?
We're still in the plane. Okay.
Did Larry tell you to stay in the plane?
Yes. Okay. We stayed in the plane. They got out.
Who got out?
Larry King and the boy got out. We went to another airport, and we're still got the French Cafe guy with us.
Okay.
Okay. We get out of there, and finally this time we get to get out. Okay. We go. This time Danny stays, and Danny and I both stay at this hotel. The French Cafe guy and Troy leave, and they're gone. And Troy never told me where they went. He wouldn't talk to me about it. We came, 2 guys came to the hotel room, I don't know who they are.
Where did you stay?
We stayed, it was one of those hotel rooms, I believe it was an Embassy Suites, maybe a Resident Inn type thing. It was one of those where it's like a little apartment house, but it's a hotel.
Do you remember what town?
No, I never knew the town.
Okay.
But I know it was in California.
Did you ever think to ask? I mean,
I think I did.
Were you ever curious where you end up?
I was scared to death. I didn't want to talk because Jeff had taken one of these.
Who asked you to go on this trip?
Larry had told me, Larry King had told me that I'm going.
Okay, and what was your purpose for going this trip?
I believe it was for sex. These two guys came, and one of them had Danny and the other one had me. And after they had been gone...
White or black?
They were both white, and they were both businessmen, and they knew each other.
Did they give you any money?
No. Did not give us any money. Nothing. Nothing. They came to the door, you know... You're
both staying in the same room?
Right.
In the same, okay.
Right. It's a home town.
Yeah, I know what it is.
And about an hour after they left...
They take each of you in a separate room?
Mm-hmm.
Did they swap?
No. No.
Was there any kind of conversation, I'm going to take you or take the boy?
They, I don't know if what had been arranged beforehand or what was going on, but he's about 45, white, snow white hair, but he's kind of young looking, but he has white, gray, snow white hair. He had an okay build, and the guy that wanted to date, and he knew that the girl was for him. And he was really weird.
What did he do to you? Tie you up?
No. He wanted to have anal sex.
Okay.
He wanted to hurt me. After,
Did he hurt you?
Yeah, he did.
Did he use some kind of sex toys?
No. He,
Did he have anal sex with you?
Yes. After he did, he wanted me to perform oral sex, and I wouldn't. And he slapped me, threw me, until I said, yeah, I would. He took out a knife and he said he was going to cut my nipples off, my breasts off, if I didn't.
Did you scream at all?
Who's going to help me?
Okay, I just want to know if the other boy had heard you.
I don't know if he did or not. I was crying.
Okay. Could you hear the other boy in the other room?
No.
Okay.
I was scared to death.
I understand.
I didn't know this person. I was in a town and I didn't know where I was at. I didn't know if he was going to kill me. I mean, I'd been left there.
No, Larry's not here now.
Nobody's there. Just me and this guy I don't even know, and there's nobody even waiting outside the car for me or nothing.
And then who's the boy that's in the hotel?
Danny King.
Danny King. And how old roughly?
He's 13.
13. Okay. Did you spend the night with these people?
After I did what he wanted, no, they left.
So they were with you a couple hours?
They were a good 5-6 hours.
Oh, one time.
And it was horrible.
When they left, what was the condition of Danny?
Danny wouldn't come out of the room for a while. And finally he let me in, and he was really mad. We were both pretty upset. We want to take a shower so we can wash off. And we didn't know if they'd come back and hurt us again. And we didn't want to fall asleep in case they snuck back. And it was pretty scary.
So you spent one night there?
Yeah.
And then the next day, who picked you up?
Troy and the guy from the French cafe came back. And Troy kept apologizing and saying, "Oh, Alisha, I'm real sorry."
Yeah.
And nobody ever said anything.
When did you see Larry King again?
When we went back to that same airport, and this time I wasn't drunk. And this time on the way back, we fueled up in we went from California to Las Vegas, and I believe it was a fuel up in Las Vegas. And from Las Vegas we went to Denver, and from Denver I believe it was the Lincoln Airport that we went to, and then from there we flew back.
Do you remember any of the FBOs that you landed on to take on fuel? In other words, on the airports, they're called FBOs. They service airplanes and fuel them and that. Do you remember?
You mean those truck things?
Do you remember any of the businesses? Like Sky Harbor is an FBO.
I remember when we were coming back, the place that, because we didn't get back into Omaha until late that night. I mean, this is a long little trip. They had the, it was a Sunday, and so they had to call somebody out there. I mean, it was one of those places I remember, vaguely I remember them really pissed off because somebody wasn't out there, so we got delayed like 45 minutes to wait for somebody to come out there and fuel it up, and they were pretty mad. And that was a real small little airport. I was, after that, I didn't want to talk to anybody.
So you went out, again, when did you go out this trip?
This
Did you receive any money or
I didn't receive a thing.
How about, did any of the other kids get anything?
Not that I know of.
Who would you say said they were sorry?
Troy did.
And when did he tell you that?
When he came back to the hotel room.
So he knew what happened, didn't he?
Yeah, he knew.
Were you mad at him?
I just wanted somebody I knew that wasn't going to hurt me, and he'd never hurt me.
And I forgot, how old was Troy?
He's 2 years older than me. In 1984, I was 15. He was 17.
Okay. What was the name of the little boy that just made a one-way?
I have no idea.
I mean, first name?
I think it was Aaron.
No one knows anything about that boy.
I had never seen him before, and I've never seen him since. Like that other one. The other one just had a curtain up. And this one, it's like a room that they have up there. There's more than just a curtain. It's like a partition door type thing. And we went to Kansas City first. And from there, we flew.
That paper that I'm showing you, is that the flight maybe you might have been on?
Very possible.
Okay, that wasn't
That's
the
still
jet.
right. But it's July 4th.
I'm
And
going
what
to
day?
go to Kansas City.
Okay, and what date were you talking about?
I think it was I think it was a week after that. But it's possible it could have been July 4th because my parents went to Sioux City and they went there to be with some of their friends and they had a big picnic and they wanted me to
So
go.
it's either July 4th or the week after.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. And you go to Kansas City.
We go to Kansas City.
All right.
We go to the hotel with the waterfall.
Crown Plaza.
You know what I'm talking about. It had a waterfall. We go to this hotel with the waterfall. It's nice. We had a suite. And I am scared to death and I'm pitching a fit. I'm just, I'm crying. I know what's going to happen. I don't want to do it. I don't have anything to do.
Did you ever make a scene in public?
No.
Okay, you waited till you got to the room.
No. I mean, I cried in front of the pilots. I think the pilots knew I was crying. Because Larry told me to hush up and I better be quiet. And, I mean, once I'm on the plane, what can I do? I'm stuck. If they decide they want to leave me there, then I'm stuck there. Or if they want to dump me somewhere, well then I don't... Once I get on the plane, I don't have a choice anymore.
Okay, so you get to Kansas City, you go to the hotel with the waterfall. What happens?
They take me and Danny up to a room, and it's one of the suites, and it's the waterfall, and it's back behind the waterfall. There's balconies that look out on this waterfall. And our room has a balcony that looks out on it. And Larry leave. And the same thing happens again. Two different guys.
I know it's painful for you, but take me through it just one more time. Now, who's the boy that's with
Danny,
you?
the same one.
Same boy.
Same one. Danny's scared, and I'm just crying.
Okay. Do you remember what room you were in?
We were one that almost directly overlooks the waterfall. There's like balcony type things. That
So if we went to Kansas City and looked, you would.
I could say.
You could probably pick it out.
It's one of the suites. It's way up, and it overlooks part of the waterfall.
Okay. All right. So then two strange men come to the room.
Yeah, and one comes later, and he goes to Danny.
Okay. So are we talking about three men total?
3 men, but 2 only come the first time. They come in, and I mean, by this time, I know what's going to happen. Danny knows what's going to happen, and obviously they know what they want to happen. And by this time, from the last trip, it had dawned on me that if this guy's a nut and he wants to kill me, who is going to stop him? So do everything he wants, and he'll leave as soon as he gets off.
Okay.
So
These two men, they come together the first time.
right, they come, and I don't know if they stayed at that hotel or not. Because obviously it's hot outside, and they're not perspiring or nothing. I mean, they don't seem hot at all, and they're wearing jackets, suit jackets, and ties.
Okay.
So I don't know. For some reason, I kind of thought, well, maybe they're from the hotel.
All right. So are these people ordering you around?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the guy stays out there with Danny, and the guy that wants me says, "Come on, we're going to the back bedroom." And he wanted, he was weird. He took off his clothes. He had women's underwear on. He wanted me to talk dirty to him. And he was just weird. He wanted to play house, to play doctor. I mean, stupid little dumb games. He talked baby talk. He was just weird. And, you know, I'm 15 years old, and he asked me, do I have any dolls to play with? He just gets real bizarre.
What did he have you do?
When he asked me if I had any dolls to play with, I told him no. And he asked me if I lost them. And I told him no, and he called me a liar, and he threw me over his knees, and he spanked me on my bare butt. And, I mean, he didn't just do it, he smacked me hard. And he was just, I was really confused. It was like, oh, this guy's weird. And he told me I was a bad girl, and that because I had to take off my clothes and I was standing in the corner.
Did he take you sexually?
Yeah.
Did he tie you up?
No. He wanted me to talk dirty. He wanted me to ask him to take me. He wanted me to get down on my hands and knees and ask him and beg him, please. If I didn't do it right, he took his belt and smacked me across the face, across the chest.
Did he make you perform oral sex on him?
Yes. And if I
Did he
didn't do
perform
it,
oral sex on you?
no.
Could you hear Danny in the other room?
The TV was on, and I had heard someone come in. So I knew someone else was in there because I heard them come in. There was a knock and someone came in. So I knew that there were two more people besides Danny out there. And I knew there were at least two people besides Danny. And after everything was through with this guy, he made me put back on my clothes and he would pray.
How long was he with you?
3.5 hours, 3 hours.
And how about Danny? About the same amount of time?
They were about the same amount of time. This was after he started hitting me with that belt. I'd do anything to make him quit. I mean, right across the face. You know, if I didn't do it right across the face.
Do what right? What did he want you to do to be right?
If I didn't perform oral sex right, lick right, if my teeth got in the way, you know, if anything was even wrong and I was not supposed to touch him at all. I mean, it was, he had these little rules that I was supposed to follow, and I didn't know them. And if I broke one, you broke the rules, and I didn't even know what they were. You know, he hit me.
So he was just very domineering.
He was weird. He was weird. And one minute it was like we were supposed to be little kids and play doctor. The next minute I was a naughty girl, and then the next minute we had done this terrible thing when we were supposed to ask God for forgiveness.
So you finished up and then you start praying?
We're supposed to get up. I'm supposed to get dressed. I'm supposed to get on my knees and ask God for forgiveness.
Did he get down and pray with you?
No, he told me what I was supposed to do. And he said I made him do it. So after we got done praying, we went in the other room, and there were two guys there with Danny, and Danny was sitting on the couch in between them.
And they all nude?
No, they all had their clothes on. Danny just has... I don't think I ever saw Danny cry after that second time that we were in LA. But I know that he went through something. And he walked kind of funny. I know that they hurt him.